A case study, the investment banker. One of my colleagues is an engineer who teaches entrepreneurship to young engineering students at a local university. He shared a webinar that he presented to his class about the benefits of virtual companies with little or no real estate or physical presence. The author of the webinar, a self-styled investment banker and exit strategist, decried the evils of the government and income tax.
I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the financial aspects of exits, particularly with respect to virtual companies. Selling your company can be a very happy day. The founders of the company can get to sell their company to a buyer for lots of money. With luck, the buyers are happy because they've acquired new technologies and talent that fit into their platform and service offerings. Great deals are made where the needs of both sides are satisfied. But then the tax man comes along. Governments tax wealth wherever they find it. And exits are a great place for government to collect taxes of all kinds. Consider capital gains taxes, dividend taxes, and withholding taxes. Often taxes can be between 20 and 40% of the entire size of the deal. Too often the government is the biggest winner in tech company exits. But the good news for virtual companies is that they can work to reduce their tax bill. Since they are located online, they can register anywhere in the world. Often, they can choose to register in a tax jurisdiction with lower transaction taxes. This can result in big savings on exit. Of course, tax planning does come at a cost, since international tax strategy is very complex.
So what we just heard is corporate finance orthodoxy. The problem with treaty and tax rate shopping is you have to do it pretty close to the beginning of your journey in building a saleable company. And the costs are high for the kind of international tax talent you're looking for. So you pay upfront for high-cost legal talent to build you a structure that will only work if you build an extremely valuable business to sell. But realistically, the chances of success are small. Some knowledgeable people would even say infinitesimally small. So you have to have very high organization costs, which are a certainty, to offset a potential capital gain that has a very low probability of happening. Of course, being ambitious and the smartest person in the room, you are uniquely qualified to beat the odds and become a billionaire. You should also know that the skill and experience of your high-cost legal talent relates to large and successful companies. They aren't used to dealing with startups. Startups are themselves a specialty. In Canada, the tax rates are quite low for early-stage companies. Having worked with two of Canada's so-called unicorns in the last 10 years, I've witnessed negative tax rates for both companies throughout most of their early tax years. That just doesn't happen in a tax haven. In other words, both unicorns qualified for massive refunds on a regular basis thanks to Canada's generous incentives for R&D and digital media companies. The same is true for failed versions of these wannabe high-growth companies. Canada also has a low tax rate for small businesses thanks to the small business deduction. What's more, there's a lifetime capital gains exemption for the first $883,000 in capital gains for qualifying small businesses. As a Canadian entrepreneur, do you want to live in Panama or the Cayman Islands? You won't get tax benefits for startups there. Do you want your kids to go to school there? The author clearly isn't a banker. He's really more like a realtor or a technical salesman. And he probably doesn't know all that much about income tax, except maybe that less is better. But then, you don't need an MBA to know that. In spite of his shortcomings, though, he may be a good addition to a team for a company looking for equity funding. Prettying up your company for sale, called staging in real estate speak, and identifying potential investors or buyers can be a full-time job, but so is running the company. So, as with using a realtor to sell your house, raising money with a specialist can make sense and leave the founder or leader to lead the business. And that's something our exit strategist didn't learn how to do at business school.